As part of a new leitmotif under François Moselle, we are encouraged to grow our potential so that we can reach excellence together. This, combined with one of the PwC core values, we imagine the possible, encourages us to create greater impact with our colleagues, clients, and society through our actions. This is where entrepreneurship comes into play. Today, we are welcoming Bernard de Villepin and Francesca Pogliani, both managers in advisory at PwC Luxembourg, who have fully embraced this value by taking on the challenge of combining entrepreneurship and their usual corporate life. They will be able to tell us more about their journey to entrepreneurship, their successes and struggles, and might even give you a tip or two if you are looking to become an entrepreneur yourself. Hello, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great, thanks a lot. Thank you for having me too.
So, as today's episode is all about entrepreneurship and having a side hustle, could you please briefly tell us a bit more about how you got the idea for your business and how you developed it?
Okay, I can go ahead. So, first of all, I would like to underline the fact that the first business idea was really, really different from what actually in the end came out. So, it was actually me with my ex-housemate, and we saw that there was a need in Luxembourg because there was no libraries open on Sundays and on the evenings. So we started thinking about having a place where to go on these moments, to have, a place where to study and work on extra projects. And we started working on that. And then after that, we realized that actually the need for this was not that much. And we developed the whole idea into something completely different. And actually then we went through a program with the House of Entrepreneurship, and we really disrupted what was the initial idea. But yes, to answer concretely to your question, there was a need that we saw, and we started working from there.
Mm-hmm. And for you?
For me, it's an old idea. Everything started maybe 10 years ago. It was like difficult emotional times for me. And so basically I went to discover to find an answer to the question like what makes a good life, like how to live a good life. And so I started to study like religion. So I went to study like Bible, Torah, Quran, Hindus, epics like Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita and stuff like that. And I was not able to find the answers to this question, like how to live a good life or what is a good life. And so I continued to study, and I discovered like psychology, behaviorism, neuroscience, evolutionary psychology, positive psychology, and I started to find some really concrete answers. And I noticed that people around me at PwC were like asking themselves this kind of questions. So I started giving like trainings for free that I developed on my personal time at PwC, and it had great feedback. And so after a while, I said, yeah, so I can give training, I can coach people. So I started to become a coach. I'm now a certified coach, and I developed this company, and here I am today.
Okay, because the big question is now, why did you decide to start something on top of your corporate job?
Yes, for me, I think that it's a bit different, because when I hear him speaking, I see like really like a path and a passion and something that you started studying and you developed in that direction. For me, it was more of, like a causality. Like we started working on this, and then we saw a possibility. We said like, why not continuing this path? So it was not really a decision in which I said like, okay, I'm going to start this and I'm going to build this company. It was more like, I will go with the flow and see how it goes. It was interesting to see how to develop something in parallel. Of course, I had my corporate job, and I said like, I can do this on top of that. I will just go with the flow and see how it goes, and I will work on it. And that was kind of a decision taken on the road, let's say. So nothing very, very, it was not like a marriage, like we have to do this, and now it's going to be like this. And there is no coming back. It was like, okay, let's go and find out how it's going to be.
Nice. And so on my side, I already had one child at the time. So my goal was to say, okay, I have my full-time job. I have like a busy personal life, and I can find some time to develop a company. And so I said to myself, okay, maybe in 10 hours per week, if I can work like every week, it's like more or less 500 hours per year, which is more or less 3 full-time 3 months full time for a job, and so I say, okay, what can I do in 3 months? And we can do a lot. So I think I underestimated a little bit about all the administrative paperwork, but otherwise, I checked like my strengths, my constraints, and say, okay, I have some time. Now I have to decide, like, I wanted to do a lot of things, and I say, okay, now I have to decide what I really want to do. Do I want to learn a new hobby, learn to play piano, learn a new language, or do I want to develop like something that is meaningful for me? And so I try to see what could work, and this is why I launched Rewiring Coach.
You already briefly touched on it. Like, how do you manage to balance the corporate life, like the full-time job that you have, with the business on the side? And is there like any help that you're getting from PwC?
So for me, I must also say that I went through the creation of the company and all the concept through COVID times. So in a sense, it was both lucky and unlucky. Unlucky from a business point of view, but lucky from time point of view, because I was working during the day and then I was closing my work PC and I was starting working on the other thing, my business, and I didn't have any temptations, like I would stay home anyway because we couldn't do anything else. So in a sense, I was kind of advantaged in this sense because, of course, there was a lot of commitment on my side, but I also had the time that, I could have just, be on the couch and watch Netflix, which is nice. But at that time, I was so committed that I didn't have any other temptations, so I could do that. Of course, I had to be very, very structured in a sense that I knew that my job would finish at 5, 6, 7, let's say, but my work day couldn't finish at 9 p.m., because I had to do something else. And to answer the question about the help from PwC, for me, I think it really depends on your boss. And in this case, I had an amazing support from my boss. I had a conversation with him. I said, I want to keep doing my best for PwC and my work here. At the same time, I want to try this new path and see how it goes. And he was really open. And he said, for me, the important thing is that you work your hours, you do what you have to do, and you deliver in that sense. And then you can do whatever else you want. We can support you in that. And that was the case. So I really found an open team also on that point. Also, my team, they were really supportive and they were actually happy to see how things were going. So it really depends on your boss and on your team and how you manage your time as well, of course. But yeah, that was really a great help for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how to balance corporate and the business side. I think the good question is how to balance the corporate one, the side one, and the personal life, which depending on the situation can be very hard to balance sometimes. But I think at the end of the reflection it's about time and energy. So this is why I decided to build a business with intangible product, because it takes very, very small amount of time in comparison to tangible product when you have to do logistic, stock management and things like that. And in terms of energy, I have several kids, so my energy is very low. And so I have to be able to keep a company running with sometimes a low level of energy when I don't sleep at night or some stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think the big idea at the end is how you manage time and energy when you look at the whole picture. About PwC, first of all, they allowed me to create a company, which I think not all companies agree with. So I'm very grateful for that. And then we are a big company, so I've been able to find a lot of people, very caring people, from all management levels. And I've been able to exchange about my ideas, about what I wanted to do, what I wanted to create. And I've always found support from other people at PwC. And from time to time, I meet people just to keep them updated about what I'm doing and how things are evolving. And it's just good to be in this kind of environment because people are caring about who you are, what you do, and what you want to achieve.
Yes, I agree. And actually, the point about opening a company is a very good one. I remember when I had to open the company, I was really wondering, would it be even possible, from an administrative point of view? And PwC was always very open with me, and the process was smooth. I never had any kind of issues from that point of view. And indeed also what you say, the environment and not feeling observed because you're doing something on top, but actually feeling like valued for that.
Exactly.
And it's not something that you find in every company, and I really appreciated it.
And I saw a post on LinkedIn, Francesca, that you actually made the decision to stop this activity. Yes. What brought you to that decision?
Well, it was a long, long path and a long, let's say, thinking process for me. And what, again, I see the difference compared to what you're saying. And as I was saying before, I really went with the flow, and this started as, an activity on top. We found a need in the market, and we started working on it. At a certain moment, I realized that even though it was really interesting to work on something like this, and it was, exciting for me to have my own company, this was not a passion of mine. It was something that little by little became another job, because in the end it becomes another job. And when in the beginning you're thinking a lot about all the cool stuff, I'm gonna be the boss of myself, and I'm gonna manage this company. We're gonna grow, and you have all this positive thinking behind it. Then little by little you start realizing you have the administrative burden, not to forget, because it's huge. You have to manage people. Your clients, they become your boss, so you're not your own boss. So you start realizing also the negative things, and it becomes in the end an extra job. And if, in my opinion, if you don't do this with a passion behind, then it starts being heavy. And that was the case for me. I had actually a difficult moment in my life when I started thinking a little bit more what I want to do. Do I appreciate my job at PwC? Do I want to keep that, or actually focusing only on this company? And I came to the conclusion that I actually like my normal job, that even though people see it as something like, I don't know how to say, but like, oh, it's a normal job and there's nothing exciting, it can actually be exciting as well. So yes, I came to the conclusion that for me it was too heavy to continue doing both. And that if I had to choose between one and the other, I would choose my normal, let's say, job. And so I decided to close the company. It was not an easy choice, but now that everything is done, also from an administrative point of view, because also that it's another story to close a company, I'm feeling lighter and I'm feeling happy because I've done the process, I've tried it, and of course it's enriching, and I'm even more excited to continue my normal, again, career.
So no regrets on your end then?
No. I'm happy about what I learned. And also, I think that many people wonder like, oh, what would it be if I started my own company? Would it be really nice, as people say? And going through the path, I have no regrets, because I can say I tried it and that was not for me. That doesn't mean that I cannot open another company in the future, maybe doing something that I really love. It's going to be easier from many points of view, administrative and all the learnings. But for the moment, I keep what I learned as a baggage to bring with me everywhere I go. And I'm happy about the closure. Yes.
And over to you. What is your end goal when it comes to this entrepreneurial activity?
Oh, a very simple one. So I built this company, as Francesca mentioned several times, passion. So for me, it's really like a passion job. I would not be able to do like this job full time. I'm really happy about what I'm doing at PwC as a data and AI manager. I'm having fun. People around me are really smart, interesting. There is a lot of very interesting things happening all the time here. And as I focus my company on people and soft skills, like being at PwC is really interesting, because like there is so much things happening around me. So I'm always on the field and observing other people. It's like super interesting. And so, yeah, I built this company really to help people and to build just a little something that is mine. I really want to be humble about that, because it's just a really, very small company. I target like long-term success, like in 10, 15 years, something like that. So I do my best just to keep the company afloat, having fun, like doing a lot of pro bono intervention in terms of soft skill training and coaching. I'm really doing that to help others. And so, yeah, so this is like what drives me in the morning. Every morning when I wake up, even sometimes I'm not super motivated about what I'm doing at PwC because I know that I will have a tough day because I will have to do a lot of administrative stuff. It's not always fun, but I always wake up saying, okay, I will have the opportunity to maybe coach somebody, find somebody to help with anything, read something new about psychology and stuff like that in the evening. So this is what drives me in the morning, like keep things simple, help others, move forward. Simple as always.
Well, and what was like your biggest lesson learned from this journey so far?
Oh, well, it's a tough question because there are so many. really, there are many. So for me, as I was saying before, the biggest lesson is indeed that something that appears to be cool from outside, it's not necessarily super cool, when you are in it. So it's always nice to, do you say that in English, or romanticize, things, idealize things, and spend time thinking that you are not in a situation that you want to be, but you could be in other situations. It is not always the case. We should really learn how to appreciate what we have today, and thanks to this path, I was able to appreciate much more what I'm doing today in PwC and the people that I'm working with and the projects, even though, of course, there are some things that are not the best and the funniest to do. But yes, I think that this is my biggest learning from that point of view. And if you want to focus on the company's side, because this is more like a life wisdom, but on company-wise, big learning for me was that you cannot do everything by yourself, at least depending on the company, because depending on the service, on the product that you're building, but in general, you cannot do everything by yourself. So you will have to surround yourself with people who are good in different things, very important things. And another thing that I learned is that you start with an idea and you need to be able to change that idea, to validate it, because you need to see whether the market is ready to accept it and wants it. So yes, you must be humble in the process, because you cannot start with something and say like, oh, this is my idea, it's going to work. No, you have to let go of many things to be able to answer the market need.
And from my end, I think that's one thing that surprised me when I started to coach people and give soft skill training is that I was like thinking that, okay, I will mainly help people from my age, like maybe after a while, after 35 or 40 years old, you will have understood everything about life and you will have an answer to how to live a good life. It's not. So I realized it's a really difficult question that is really depending on who you are, the situation, what's happening around you, your environment and stuff like that. And that people from all ages, all grades need this kind of help, need to know like what we have discovered over the last years. Because when I mentioned neuroscience, behaviorism, positive psychology is like less than 30, like modern science is like 30 years old around it. So it's really young and a lot of things are happening across the world. A lot of studies are being done every day. And it's answer a lot of questions to people from all ages. And I think this is really like what I was not expecting. I was really thinking about helping mostly young people, but after a while I help mostly people that are older than me. And I think that's really interesting on the human side point of view. So this is really like what surprised me when I had some experience with my company.
Yeah, we grow up, but we never have it figured out. We just realize while growing up.
Life stuff.
Yeah. Yes, you're figuring out as you go.
Exactly.
And as a final question, we always like to ask if you have one piece of advice to anyone who maybe would like to also start an entrepreneurial activity.
I can go ahead. Mm-hmm. So for me, it would be really stopping for a moment and thinking why you're doing that. Because I am an example. It could be seen as a bad example, or I don't know, as a good example in a sense that the path made me close my company. But when you want to start a company and you want to start going through that path, you should really ask yourself, is this something that if I became the CEO of a big company, if I really had to dedicate 100% of my time to this, would I be happy? Is it something that I want to do? And in order to do that, you have to let go a little bit of your ego, because there is a lot of ego in deciding to open your company. It feels cool. It feels like I have my own company. I am my own boss. In my case, it's like, oh, girl boss, whatever. So, you have a lot of this thinking, but really stop and think like, do I want to do that? Will it be a passion or will it just become another job? Because when you have your job and you're paid at the end of the month, it means something. When you have something that becomes a job and then you're 24 hours thinking about it because it's your own company, it's much more difficult. So think about it. And if you think, okay, this is what I want to do, then just go for it and work on it and validate the idea, first of all, and then just act. Do not think too much. Try acting and trying things out.
Yeah, I agree totally. What I would recommend is if you are working full-time on a job, talk to your management. Like, it's always good to see like if they would agree or not for you to build this company. And also you would receive like a lot of feedback from them, like, do they think it is a good idea? Will they support you? Will they help you? And I think it's good to talk about it around you. Because it's a lot of work and you already have a full-time job. And so you have to really be, as I told earlier in this podcast, you have to be conscious of the time that you have, but also the energy that you will have, and also the fact that a company needs time to be built and to be successful. Like usually, when we look at like a high level professional in sport, there is like this famous sentence we say like, how much time would you need like to be a overnight success? Like nobody knows you have a success, everybody knows you. Everybody thinks that you started yesterday because they didn't know you like 2 days earlier. But so you have to be conscious of all this time and energy that you will have to put. And so this is why I decided to really start slow because I had limited time and limited energy. And I'm like targeting like mid to long-term success. And also, so this is what I did. Talk to your boss, have a conversation with them. Most of the time, people are really nice with you. Nobody's here like to judge you or to shut you down. And so you will find a lot of help and supportive people around you. So have a chat with them.
It's a very good point, if I may, because indeed, like people think that you build a company, in this famous garage. You have a garage and you start a company. Some people don't even have a garage. First of all, I don't. So it's not like that. It's really a process. And indeed, the fact that you have a full-time job could be seen as an advantage because you have, the money coming in at the end of the month. Of course, if you have this big capital that you have already, okay, just you're lucky, go for it. But otherwise, trying to see like the positive things and to make an advantage, like he was saying, like speak with people and, get help also from where you're at already. And don't think that it's going to be like a jump. I quit my job and I do the rest. No, don't quit your job for the moment. Do the steps. Work, do stuff, but in a rational way, I always say. Because these dreams that they idealize are very, I must say, rare. Like they don't happen often.
Yeah, exactly. And also like we have to be conscious of the figures like... I think it's in the Silicon Valley, 90% of companies like don't work out.
Exactly.
So you have to be conscious that one of the big advantage as being like having a job full time and being a solopreneur on the side is the fact that you don't have this pressure of time. Usually when people start to build their companies, they say, okay, I would like put money on the side and I would have 12 to 15 months in front of me to have like the necessary amount of money per month to live. This is a pressure that you don't have. When you build your company and that you are working full-time, this is like a very, very, very opportunistic things, and you really have to count on it. And you have like this luck to say, okay, I have time, I can develop like months after months after months, slowly but surely, and I will never run out of cash, which like most companies can't do that. So this is really an advantage. Even if you have less time, let's say if you can work like 10 hours per week, you will work like 4 times less than somebody which work on full time, but you don't have this pressure. So I think this is why it's better to be able to target like mid to long term success, and see if you want to keep your full time job or how you want to balance things in the future. And I think that these are some good questions to ask yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you, Audi, so much for joining us today for this episode.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's it for today's episode, and if you don't want to miss out on our upcoming stories, hit subscribe and feel free to share. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening and see you for the next episode of Casual Side.